2 lost hours an everyday phenomenon. Did you know that you spend about 2 hours each day functionally blind without even realizing it? While your eyes function perfectly, capturing the world around you, your brain, preoccupied with its own thoughts and processes, effectively tunes out the visual information coming from your surroundings. This phenomenon, though surprisingly common, often goes unnoticed by most people. Blindness of the mind's eye. This blindness doesn't involve a physical inability to see. It's not about the eyes failing to capture light or images. Instead, it's a phenomenon where our minds, overwhelmed by the constant influx of information, fail to process and register what we see. Imagine walking through a bustling market. Your eyes see the vibrant colors, the movement, the faces of people, yet your mind is elsewhere, preoccupied with thoughts, worries, or plans. You navigate through the crowd, but later you can't recall the details of the market. This is the blindness of the mind's eye. It's a subtle form of cognitive disconnect, where we look without truly seeing. Our brains, busy with internal dialogues and processing, miss out on the richness of the visual world around us. We might be standing before a breathtaking landscape or a stunning piece of art, but our minds are too occupied to appreciate it. Imagine driving home on a familiar route, lost in thought. Your eyes are on the road, your hands on the wheel, but your mind is wandering. You arrive safely, but you have no recollection of the journey itself. The familiar scenery, the turns, the stops, all of it is a blur. You pull into your driveway, step out of the car, and realize you can't remember the drive. Your brain, preoccupied with other thoughts, was effectively blind to the details of the journey. This is a common experience, highlighting how our minds can be so engrossed in internal matters that we miss out on the external world. This phenomenon is a reminder of the importance of mindfulness. By being present in the moment, we can train our minds to truly see and appreciate the world around us. It's about finding a balance between our internal thoughts and the external environment, ensuring that we don't miss out on the beauty and details of life. The daydreamer's dilemma. Daydreaming is a prime example of this phenomenon in action. When our minds wander, we often become oblivious to our surroundings. We might miss a friend waving at us or fail to notice a change in the environment. This blindness isn't limited to daydreaming. It can occur during periods of intense concentration, stress, or even excitement. In these moments, our brain prioritizes certain stimuli over others, leading to a kind of tunnel vision. While this selective blindness might seem like a flaw, it's actually a testament to our brain's remarkable efficiency. Our brains are constantly bombarded with sensory information, sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and tactile sensations. Imagine walking through a busy city street. You hear the honking of cars, the chatter of people, the distant sound of a street musician playing a tune. You see the vibrant colors of storefronts, the movement of pedestrians, the flashing of traffic lights. You might even catch the aroma of food from a nearby vendor or feel the cool breeze against your skin. Our brains are constantly bombarded with sensory information, sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and tactile sensations. To prevent overload, the brain filters this information, focusing on what it deems most important at any given moment. This process is known as selective attention. It allows us to concentrate on a conversation in a noisy room or focus on a task despite numerous distractions. To prevent overload, the brain filters this information, focusing on what it deems most important at any given moment. This ability to focus, while essential for survival and efficient cognitive function, comes at a cost. By narrowing our attention, we inevitably miss out on peripheral details, leading to periods of functional blindness. For instance, you might be so engrossed in your phone that you don't notice a friend waving at you from across the street, or miss the beautiful architecture of a building you pass by every day. This ability to focus, while essential for survival and efficient cognitive function, comes at a cost. By narrowing our attention, we inevitably miss out on peripheral details, leading to periods of functional blindness. This selective attention is a double-edged sword. It helps us navigate complex environments and complete tasks efficiently, but it also means we might overlook important or beautiful aspects of our surroundings. By narrowing our attention, we inevitably miss out on peripheral details, leading to periods of functional blindness. This phenomenon is a necessary trade-off. It allows us to function in a world filled with overwhelming stimuli, but it also reminds us of the importance of occasionally stepping back and taking in the broader picture. By doing so, we can appreciate the richness and diversity of our environment, noticing the small details that make life truly vibrant. Recent research suggests that this selective blindness is also linked to the brain's energy budget. The brain, while only accounting for about 2% of our body weight, consumes a disproportionate amount of energy, roughly 20% of our daily caloric intake. To conserve energy, the brain has evolved to be incredibly efficient, only allocating resources to processing the most relevant information. This energy-saving mechanism contributes to our periods of functional blindness. One of the most striking examples of this phenomenon is a phenomenon known as inattentional blindness. This cognitive quirk reveals just how selective our attention can be, often to the point where we miss out on significant details in our environment. It's a fascinating insight into the limitations of human perception and how our brains prioritize information. In a famous experiment by psychologists Daniel Simons and Christopher Chabris, participants were asked to watch a video of people passing basketballs and count the number of passes made by players wearing white shirts. This task seemed straightforward enough, but it was designed to test the limits of their attention and perception. The participants were so engrossed in counting the passes that they were unaware of what else was happening in the scene. During the video, a person in a gorilla suit walks through the scene. This wasn't a subtle appearance. The gorilla even paused in the middle, beat its chest, and then continued walking. It was a deliberate and conspicuous interruption meant to test whether the participants would notice something so out of the ordinary. Astonishingly, about half of the participants failed to notice the gorilla, their attention so focused on counting the passes that they were effectively blind to the unexpected event. This experiment highlights a critical aspect of human cognition. Our brains can only process so much information at once. When we concentrate intensely on one task, we often become oblivious to other stimuli, no matter how obvious they might seem. This phenomenon has profound implications, not just for understanding human psychology, but also for practical applications in areas like driving safety, security, and even everyday decision-making. It serves as a powerful reminder that sometimes the most obvious things can go unnoticed if we're not paying attention. This blindness is a natural consequence of how our brains process information. By understanding this phenomenon, we can become more aware of its influence on our daily lives. We can learn to cultivate mindfulness, paying attention to the present moment and expanding our awareness of our surroundings. While we may never fully overcome these periods of functional blindness, by acknowledging their existence, we can mitigate their impact and become more attentive observers of the world around us.